Hello and good morning, guys, and welcome to episode 7 of this little series we got going. Today, that's a seagull dropping. That's kind of funny. What I want to do today is I want to make a little bit of a different episode, a bit shorter, a little bit of more tutorial focus, like showing and talking about stuff in real time, kind of as they're being built. And before we spoil too much about that, I mean the thumbnail's probably gonna spoil it already, but we need to fix a thing with the tram line, or not fix. I don't know. I did go to quite some lengths to talking about how I think the tram should run on a grass track, or sort of there should be a grass under the tram tracks. And we can fix that, and I was always planning to do this. It's just that now we have trams, and now we can try to do it. So you can do this with IMT. Let's just like talk about it first. You see I've already played around with this segment in particular, the points offset. You could use IMT to create a sort of grass filler, right? Grass island it's called. Lower the elevation so that it just pops up but leaves the tracks intact like that. That looks great. The reason it doesn't match the grass here is because the grass here is like affected by oil and fertile land and stuff like that. But in general it looks pretty good, but when you zoom out you see it just disappears. It disappears around there. It's an LOD thing with IMT. So I try not to rely too much on details like that are visible from far out. It becomes a little bit annoying. There is a very neat trick to do this without IMT though. That's what I'm going to talk about. It requires us to do our first changes to the theme. I always plan to do changes to the theme, but this is just going to be the first one. We're going to open up Theme Mixer. It doesn't really matter which one you use, whatever you prefer. And we're going to go into the terrain. Actually, I'm doing this wrong order. Let's. You can use multiple ways to do this. We're basically going to change the color of this thing under here. This yellow thing. That's the ruined texture. I can show with the surface painter how it looks first. This is the texture we're going to change. By default, it goes underneath all the roads. There's probably many ways to get rid of it, but this is the way I prefer to do it. Or like may prefer to deal with it, I guess. It's like changing this particular ruined texture to something that's much more matching of the... This is nice. I don't remember the old Phoenix letting you move it when you were... Okay. When you were opening the windows. Yeah, so finding some texture that matches but still is like slightly different is, in my mind, the absolute most useful way of having them. Oh, that's a cliff texture only. I have a lot of themes right now. Like for deciding, I'd recommend like getting like a bunch of themes while you're deciding what themes you need, and then getting rid of them when you've sort of established which ones you want. I know a few are gonna work, but I'm just like, I guess, showing the process of getting to that. I'm also skipping a few that I just don't think are gonna work. No, not quite. Like, see, this is interesting. This could be useful, but I think it's a little bit too red still. There's a lot of themes. The Seychelles one is a classic. I've used the Seychelles theme a lot for this in the past, but I think there might be a better one when I looked. I looked at this the other day. I think this one is probably the best one. It pretty much matches perfectly. And what is it called? I kind of missed it. Seas Larimar Tropical Theme. Let's just go through it to see the rest while we're already gone so far. It's a decent one. It's also decent. Because we don't want it to be exactly the same theme either, because this ruined theme, we can use that to detail and texture things and like sort of create variation in the grass. So if it's just the same texture as the normal grass, then it's sort of a little bit of a lost thing. So we don't want it to be exactly. It isn't a problem here though. We can't find any exactly the same, but we want to be able to use it to paint stuff, and I think this one is pretty much great for that. So I'm going to go ahead and it's a big delete, and show you the next step. The next step, we could use Surface Painter to do this. Just paint under the tram tracks. And you see, it's still visible when we zoom out. It's pretty great. But we can also use network skins. Network skins, old classic mod, to change the pavement from gravel, or I mean from pavement to gravel if we wanted to, or even dirt. Dirt is the same as ruined in this context, so I'm just gonna do that for the whole tram system as it is right now. We don't care about the loop. The loop is fine. That's temporary stuff anyway. And also I don't care about the station because, I mean, I might as well. It's all like overlapped anyway, but... Okay, we did it. The bridge, no. It doesn't really affect the bridge anyway. It's only ground stuff, so... Some of these places where it sort of gets close to the roads is maybe not. We get some unwanted stuff going on here, maybe. Why not? Yeah, it's gonna take some detailing to make it like completely up to par. Like, for example, in places like this, fixing it. Also, we kind of want to. If it could have, these guys might actually want to have some pavement on them. So yeah, it's not perfect yet, but it's going to be pretty good when we're done with it. Yes, so the build today though is not going to be there. It's going to be... Oh. I just realized something. I already did this build. I cheated. It's going to be a sort of church replacement. It's a very easy build when you know what assets you want to use and stuff like that, and it's pretty fun to do it. But I'm going to build this thing basically from scratch. So you can see what I mean and how it works. And also, I'm gonna explain the problem. The base problem here is this church, the vanilla church, is meh. Let's go on a very quick rant. Look what happens. I don't know of many terrain-conforming churches, but this one is. And it looks kind of like garbage because of it. If you're building a sagging like this, that is a problem. So that is one reason. Another reason is we can flatten it and it's like gonna look, I guess, a bit normal, but It's just also a little bit of a boring structure. So creating some variation by making like custom churches is something I like to try and do. Yeah, I want to show you guys. So I'm going to use this one I built as a template to find the assets. It makes it just quicker. Yeah, let's get started. Here is the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to take the gravel road bridge and I'm going to drag it out. I'll go over like the mods required as we touch on them as well. And of course the first one is move it. I use move it a lot. You probably need move it for this. I mean, I'm gonna use move it a lot, so you should just have it. I'm using this covered bridge from a gravel road as a roof for a church. It's really useful. And here I'm gonna change the end node type to freeform and set this distance value on both of these to 0. This is something I like to do a lot with the old node controller, and I was kind of distraught that I didn't think the new one even had these options, but now it apparently has, so that makes me, I guess, a happy boy. Curious how the terrain gets affected there, but it's fine. I mean, it's probably fine. It doesn't have to be perfect yet, just has to be roughly aligned with everything. Good. The second step is, let's get some pillars in here. Because I use pillars like this guy here to create the walls. This is from the Bridges and Piers DLC, but you can use, like for example, the pillars that come with this gravel road, which are vanilla. You could use these as well. They also give you a little bit of a historic look. Maybe we should just even use them. I don't know. Maybe I'll do another church with those guys just to create some variation. They're a bit more sloped, which causes some issues, but it's fine. I'm gonna heavily rely on the mirroring trick, which I talked about a lot in the Fessia video, but I didn't really get to show it off and sort of. I don't think I got to show it in a very good way. Like, it's not very easy to follow the way I did it in that video, unfortunately. Because it's just so quick, so much stuff happening all the time. Here I'm gonna show it much more casually, I guess. Maybe this needs to be a bit thinner. Maybe it's a bit the thick church. Let's just change the thickness of the walls a little bit, like to 80%. 80? Yeah, that works. You can also get a steeper roof that way, because the roof doesn't really change. The roof's sort of height, but you make it less thin, so it's gonna get a more steep angle, which I don't honestly mind. That's kind of nice. It's kind of cute. Let's see that we can place these guys, and it's going to be a bit too close. It's going to clip through the existing church if we do it like that. So I'm gonna align it with the that's aligned. I'm gonna place these pillars basically where the vanilla church is, like so, and we'll adjust these guys to it. So 60% was a bit greedy. Maybe 70, 75. I think 75 seems to be a good number. Yeah. It pretty much matches the thing. But we should also have overlap, so let's just go back to 80. Yeah, that's good. And now I can copy these guys using the mirror function. So I'm selecting the pillars and mirror objects. I need to have segments enabled here. So I can pick this one, and you see when the white outline, that lets me mirror them over to the other side, like that. Like, it's probably going to be like I'll probably have to do a separate sort of tutorial on that move it feature because it's so useful. But for now, it's really easy to use. I really recommend using it, and like sort of having temporary mirror networks and stuff like that. That lets you copy it with mirroring. Here I'm using the plus and minus keys on my keyboard to scale inwards and outwards. You can see these pillars are moving slightly. It's also a really nice feature. This way we don't get the clipping on that side that we had just a moment before. Oh, I like that actually. It sort of includes the... It kind of incorporates the original church a little bit more in the design. Maybe we should try that, to be honest. I'd have to lower this... I'd have to lower everything, including the pillars, but maybe? Because it's terrain conforming, it's just gonna follow. Okay. I don't know. I think we have to replace the tower also. It's a bit of a shame. The entrance is pretty cool. Anyway, next step is let's create a tower. I'm gonna use the same pillars for the tower, and I'm gonna use them. I haven't quite decided how to use them yet. Let's copy and paste one here, and align it with these guys like that, and then raise it up, and do the same over here actually. It will become a bit more apparent after a while why we do this. Now we can scale these guys outward. And I'm just scale, like I'm using the plus and minus key again. And now we can select just this one and hold down Alt plus click to duplicate in place. Actually, we weren't done yet. Gonna delete that. Because we get this very nice, when you select this, you see, it's not quite there yet. Yeah, a little bit more. See, it's almost center now. Okay, I'm gonna do a like Alt click plus the tiniest step. Okay, one more. Yeah, that's good. Now I can Alt click to duplicate in place. It should have, yeah. Okay, Alt click, and we can rotate it. I'm holding down, when I'm rotating like this, I'm holding down Alt again. If I'm pressing down the right mouse button and rotating, it lets me rotate freely. But if I enable or like click on Alt, you can see this icon here shining up, the toggle snapping, and it lets me snap the movement in 45-degree increments, which is so useful. It's another one of those really useful features. Now to get rid of the sea fighting here on the top, which I don't think we have to worry about. I'm just going to raise one slightly, just tiniest bit. I don't think we need this one for now, but I'm going to have it there. It might be useful. Yeah. Like, the next thing we should probably do is do a church tower, and I'm going to do the church tower the same way. It's becoming the same church, guys. It's fine. It's also at the exact same height. This is a... what's it called? Gazebo? Or a pavilion? Pavilion prop, yeah. I think it's a really cool prop for uses like this. I'm not sure how... We should have aligned this stuff better, to be honest. Which is... I mean, you know what? It's fine. We don't have to align everything perfectly. This is going to be good enough. We'll eyeball it. Reverting to eyeballing. We can align it with that stuff. That thing there, I suppose. It's a little bit asymmetrical on the tower, but that hides this little bit of annoying pathway thing, maybe. Who am I kidding? It needs to be... The circle needs to be aligned. Yeah, the circle needs to be aligned. Let's... Who am I kidding? I care about these things. Which is why we couldn't really align it anyway, because it's not centered. You see, it's not... The center of this asset is not... The center of this prop is not in the actual center of the circle part, so... You know what? I think that is pretty close to it. Maybe tiny... Oh no, it doesn't let me do that tiny of a step. I need to... Holding down control lets me do a bit more fine control moving. Yeah, That's good. Next step is, like, I also have this, actually an extra prop here. Which is the kiosk prop. And I like to put that into the sort of center of the spire or whatever. Just to make it a little bit more unique. Something like so, maybe? A little bit. Can we align it? Yeah, it's not really aligned perfectly. I guess the same with this guy. Yeah. Maybe that's better. Okay, we can lower it for the eyeballing process to work easier. We can do it. Basically, we can do it like this. We can align the tips. Yes. And then we can raise it to whatever level we want. And I'm specifically looking at this angle here, like trying to avoid the annoying shadows. It's just going to be a slight sort of. That's pretty good actually. I like that. Just a slight dome. A little bit of an onion dome-ish. I don't know. You could probably make a mosque or synagogues or other sort of religious buildings this way. This is just maybe it even fits better for some of those. Just ideas, guys. It's like I'm happy to share these ideas, and maybe somebody else comes up with some cool stuff you can do. I do want to add. It's a little bit wonky here, but I do want to add this thing in the end. I don't know what it would be called. I think there's a term for this. There's something called an absid in Swedish, but I don't think this is that. But it's something near the rear of the church. Maybe. Actually, what if we copy this guy and rotate it? Copy it in place and rotate it. Ah, no, not really. We could select these guys and maybe. Ah, because they're in the same place, I can't rotate. Okay, I'll have to align them, or at least one of them. Actually, that's a pretty decent idea. I'll do it like this. I'm gonna mirror it on the roof. The roof is our mirror guide here. And then I can do a... Maybe this is gonna work. Can do a line up. It's a little bit wonky, so I'm sure you can see. Because of how this pillar works, it's not gonna be perfect. It's gonna be hard to get it perfect, but we can do something close to perfect, and then just sort of not look at it so thoroughly. Yeah. And here I can raise and lower these, just the slightest step again, so we avoid the sea fighting. We only had to move the middle one, so that's good. We're not going to see this anyway, because we are going to put one of these roofs over it. Or put a sort of curved piece of roof. This is the theory anyway. This is a little bit different. Here we actually need to reset the IMT stuff. Or the node controller stuff. And I don't quite remember how I did this in the past. How did I do this? I basically think I move these nodes very close to each other. I think first maybe aligning them is a good... Oh, they won't align perfectly because reasons. Maybe if we do it like that. For a straight segment, we can align them. That's pretty close to it. Now maybe we can start by doing something. I'm gonna do something weird also. I'm gonna select one of these pillars. I think it did. And I'm gonna raise it up, and I'm gonna use this as a sort of plus minus guide for this segment. Oh, it doesn't work. Segments are a little bit weird because you can see the common center becomes offset. It doesn't always work, unfortunately. So I think this is just one of those. It's easy, so much easier just to eyeball it. So we'll do it like that. Either we do that, or we move the nodes. We start by moving the nodes, maybe, because these guys will have to be pretty close to each other, like really close. And now maybe this segment is actually... Oh yeah, we can't do it. The nodes... Okay, I'm gonna align the screen and I'm gonna use the arrow keys and do it that way. That's a little bit not quite what I was expecting, to be honest. Maybe we just need a little bit larger. It's getting closer, I think. You see, now when we move these guys together, it's gonna like do it not centrically. But I need to investigate how I did the previous one, actually, because this one is a bit borked right now, but I think that might be from moving it. Is there anything I can learn from this? Just two nodes very close to each other, and moving this far out is... That's not a roof. That's more like, I don't know, it gives me it should have the kind of roof-like angle, preferably. Interesting. What if... Maybe this is going to be harder because we actually made it thinner, the church here. Maybe the fact that this one is a little bit wider lets us play around more with this. And it's still clipping, you can see. So it's quite possibly that it might be very hard to do it this way. Let's try to add a node and see if we can get something better going. We can also make this smaller, so... Yeah, that's pretty good. It's much easier to work with that, to be honest. But before then, we have to change the stretch to maybe 80%. 80% doesn't sound like a lot, but it's the same as we had for the other roof, so... Theoretically, that should make a difference. It doesn't seem to actually change anything. It really doesn't look like it changed the covered segment at all. Interesting. Let's line these guys up. And there we got something pretty cursed, but also I think that can work. What happens if we just copy paste this stuff here? Can we get this to clip nicely? It's not quite there, unfortunately. I think we're gonna just have to... am I really gonna say abandon that project for now? I might wait and do something off camera for that, or like try to figure that out later, because it's getting more and more technical unnecessarily. Before, like a few days ago, I never bothered with this part anyway, so... And I thought I had completed it here, but it was kind of broken anyway, so... Let's continue to the props, because the props are more fun, to be honest. Okay, see if I can find a setting, a lighting setting that shows both. I think my shadows are a little bit too strong. I've been told, so let me know if you guys think I should change the shadows up. Yeah, let's do the props. First off are the windows. I've done this sort of weird combination of a few props here that I think works really well as a window. It's a dormer, it's some billboards, and a birdhouse. Ironically, it's a birdhouse. I've also scaled them a little bit, so we might have to do that using prop controller. So this birdhouse is just amazing. I was so happy when I found this to make these windows. Just put it very, very near the so that just one side of it sticks out. And that's a small win. Like, you know what? Let's keep it small. Let's not scale everything up on this one. I'm going to see if I can copy this one and do like that, and we're gonna raise it up for a bit. This is gonna be a sort of mirror guide for the windows. So I'm gonna select this guy. Actually, I'm gonna wait with that until we created one whole prefab of a roof. Let's see if a dormer without scaling it works. I didn't even know it was a arched roof dormer thingy. Nice. Maybe that could work then in. Or this one. Okay. And while I've talked a lot about perfect alignment and tricks like that, I would prefer to do that here, but I'm realizing it's probably just quicker to do it and live with minute inaccuracies. I like that. I like that one a lot. I don't think this one is going to look better. This sort of thing it doesn't make a lot of sense, to be honest, also, but it just makes the window more pronounced, and it matches this roof a lot, so that's neat. I did use another billboard here, but I don't know if we can maybe find a better one quick. Oh, it's basically a mural decal thing. That's cool. That's too big. It would be nice to find something small. I say, and find the biggest ones initially or instantly. No, not that one. Like maybe this guy here. It would be nice to have a prop that doesn't need to be rescaled, and I instantly scale it accidentally by pressing the buttons for scaling. I think this one could work without scaling, actually, because we're gonna drag it into it's a little bit on the edge. Let's see how it looks when we recolor it. Oh, then it becomes like it shows the ads. It's kind of weird. It would be nice to have this without rescaling, because that makes it much easier to copy and paste. I've noticed prop controller doesn't always remember scale and stuff like that when you copy and paste. I'm not convinced for that one. Apartments for rent? What is this? These are new for me. Parking available? Whoa, cool. From the Brooklyn and Queens pack. Okay, I see. How about this one then? I mean, repainting is also one of those things it doesn't remember, but it's relatively easy to fix the repainting. The scaling is like you need to remember the exact size, I guess. Painting is just like you can just play around with the sliders and do anything. Oh shit. Okay. I need to have a different angle while moving this in here. Okay. I mean, and making it completely black, maybe, so you don't see that there's ads on this thing. It's a little bit weird, but it's not even a little bit weird, it's kind of weird. I am going to select this marquee select thing here, or the filter, so we only select this guy now. It's gonna make things a lot easier to move. Control, yeah, that's almost perfectly aligned with the wall. Okay, we could do it with one. If we have it placed perfectly, we can do it with one. That is kind of okay. It's a little bit meh, but... Okay, let's take this prop we made, all these props, these 3 props in one set, and we're gonna use the mirror guide on this guy here. And it's gonna place them pretty much perfectly over here, but you can see it's not as perfect as I would have hoped, but we can use these to place these guys a little bit more outward and hopefully get like a little bit more consistent results. Something like that, maybe. Honestly, the domer thing is bugging me a little bit now. What if a domer was just behind that thing? I think that looks better, if anything. Okay, let's do it that way. Becomes a little bit simpler to use. Mirror again. And now we get to do the fun thing of aligning more of them here. And to be fair, I didn't really think about this, but okay, we can do it this way. We can do... I think we need to have them a little bit further out, to be honest. Like, this one needs to start somewhere here. And mirror it over here, and of course these pillars are slightly off. Let's just do it like that instead. Yes, now we can do a use these as outer guides for 2 more windows in the middle. We just need to select the... Like when I was going to select the domer, I'm going to select all 3 of the domers, just the domer, with filtered out only for that one. I'm going to line them up. Now we're only going to try to select the birdhouse, which is going to be fun. I'm just going to place a copy paste here so we can select them. Only birdhouse. I'm going to line up, and now we're gonna select only this ad board, the night watch ad board thing, and line them up, and voila, it actually works. It's very good when it works. Doesn't always work. Gonna select all props again. Ad board is a little bit interesting, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. We're going to select all the props now, finally, and we're going to add segment here and mirror them over to the other side, using this as a guide now. And with some luck and some changing of light settings, it's going to work pretty much the same over here. It doesn't actually, though. I'm also seeing that the roof of the church is actually clipping through a little bit again. We can always solve that by moving everything just slightly over again. Select everything. Just moving it slightly. That removes clipping on that side. There's no clipping on this side. Yeah, we're like playing around with so fine details right now that it's almost guaranteed to create a slight bit of I guess misalignment in some places. We can either just drag these out a slight tiny bit, not that much. We could drag them out like that and recognize that now these on the other side are a little bit more you know what, it's fine. We could mirror them back, I was going to say, but it's gonna like introduce a lot of other problems that I probably didn't think about, so let's just keep it like that. The next prop I want to add, I'm so happy about this one, is the train station clock prop from Train Station's CCP by Bad Peanut. And this clock has a very fun feature, and I'm gonna show it to you guys in a bit. Okay, I'm just eyeballing that clock. Maybe they would have eyeballed it. Maybe it's not perfectly symmetrical. This clock is very fun because when you change the time, the clock actually changes. So the clock follows the day-night cycle, which is pretty cool, I think. See, it's midnight. Noon. That is cool. I think we'll place one clock on the front side. Another prop I did, if we deconstruct this church a little bit, or like a prop I used here in the thing, is it's a church bell. And for the church bell, I did use the concrete block number 1, I think. I think together with this guy. So it's like a hybrid of a few different assets. Let's use the alignment trick here from the episode 2. So now these are all aligned. I can rotate that to, I don't know if this is a church bell in your, maybe we should just have it be a square bell. I mean, that's not how bells work, but I don't think I have any better ones that I know of. It's not that this is going to be visible ever either, or like hardly visible, but we do need to combine it with one of these also. So I'm going to line it up like that, and I am going to put them over here for now. I'm going to raise them up, and we can recolor this to a church belly color. I don't know what that would be, like maybe a brownish, bronzish. That looks like a golden bell. Someone would steal that. We're turning concrete into bronze. Yeah. I might... Oh, trash bin. What if we turned a trash bin into a church bell? I'm not so sure, actually. Yeah, I probably shouldn't try to change the plans too much. But there are other options. I mean, you could use the fountain, I suppose. Yeah, for now, this one is good. It's recolorable. We can make it bronze colored. That's not too good. It's such unfortunate that it is so big, or the selector is pretty big, so I can't quite see the color. Maybe that's... Let's just call that bronze for now. I don't know. I don't even know if these are made out of bronze. I'm very ignorant of the materials in church bells. I have no idea. I'm gonna raise it up. Where is it? I can see the shadow. Oh, it's way up. It also hides the tip of the church pretty nicely, which is kind of fun. The vanilla church, that is. I think also I want to lower this a little bit, if I can. Okay, something like that, anyway. yeah, we're basically almost done. We only need a few more props. We need like some kind of entrance. And the entrance I've done on this other church before is I've used the monorail pylons, which is mass transit DLC. I think the only DLC props I'm using is the train station for the clock and mass transit for these guys, and bridges and piers for the main pillars. That's probably the most important one. But as I said, you can use different pillars. There's vanilla pillars that could do the job as well. So I recommend you to play around with that and see what you can come up with. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna line... I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, I'm gonna arrange that line. That isn't quite... We need to have, we need to have some kind of... We need to have at least 2 of these perfectly lined before we can start. Or even more, to be honest. I don't know if this is gonna let me align to... It doesn't let me align like that. That's annoying. Okay, let's do it like this then. I'm going to align these using this network and then rotate them 45 degrees. That's what I'm thinking right now. So I'm putting them to the same height. I'm using the line up like that. Now we don't need this network anymore. Now we have something that's perfectly 90 degrees rotated from the church. And I'll keep it there for now. I will copy paste. I'm going to press the minus key a few times. I guess this is kind of the movie tutorial a little bit. And until I have something better, this is a pretty decent movie tutorial, I think. I do show off some of my favorite tricks, absolutely. So. It's not... Why is it not aligned? Is it because these guys didn't align properly? Oh, never mind. There we got it, I think. Okay. I want to add more of these, and the way I'm gonna do it, I'm just gonna add more in the middle. Like maybe 3 or so. Gonna make sure to only select those, not the train station clock. And this top level, I'm gonna lower this a little bit. So we get a kind of platform without sea fighting, that is. So lower it slightly like that. And I'm gonna just eyeball it, the sort of alignment to the building. I'm gonna lower it down a little bit so it matches the terrain as it is right now. Something like that, and that is the stairs. That is the stairs. I'm a little bit considering just removing that also, because we couldn't figure out the roof, so let's just remove it for now and replace it with a boring flat end instead. Using the raise up to hide sea fighting again. This is the back side of the church. You hardly see that part anyway, so. I don't want to delete that yet. We might still need it. I don't think we will, because the only thing we really have left is some kind of entrance, and I'm thinking maybe the domer again could be good for this kind of thing. I'm also thinking maybe I can switch it up and do something else. It would be very cool to maybe use a monorail pylon here as well. Like, I really enjoy using more modern looking stuff for more classic, like, and sort of using things out of their context. Like, this monorail pillar is obviously very modern compared to when this church was built in the 1800s probably, or something like that, but like, if you place it like that, doesn't it look a little bit like some kind of, I don't know, some kind of archway? It fits into the colors a lot. I like that. I like that a lot. Now the question is, should I just do that? Let's just add to these sides also, so we get the sort of consistency in that cornice, or whatever you would call it. Mirror objects, and I'm gonna mirror towards that guide, and I think I did it twice because there's not twice. Okay. I did realize when doing that I didn't align. There's probably some inconsistencies in the alignment here, I realized. If we make it just slightly poking out. That's good. I will accept that. And now we just need to figure out some kind of door. There's a very big lack of door-like things in the game. They recently added the sort of rotated animated screen. What are these called even? Revolving doors, yeah. Which is so cool. I love this asset. I don't know whether it was part of what's it called, the financial districts, or if something else. But obviously, it's not gonna really work for a church like this. But there's quite a bunch of... Oh, yeah, the outhouse. What's it called? Rooftop Access has a few really nice vanilla stuff that could work in our favor. Could use this shopping trolley thing as a... Could use the toll booth plaza things as well. But I think we're going to use some of these still. Like maybe the more discreet version of these is better. Maybe the more discreet it's a glass door though, that's... Or is it? No, it's not necessarily glass, it just sort of looks like glass. Now this one is definitely glass. It's selecting the monorail without me, almost without fail. Okay, we'll do this, and I swear we're very soon done. We're very soon sort of finished with this. There's not much more. Let's just have it be a black door. I don't know if that's bad or anything, but if we lower these guys, maybe we can get it to sort of fit better into the... Maybe the gray door. This one is better for recoloring, I think. Ah, okay. Let's just do that. Better for recoloring, better for all sorts of things. Just more flexible. So I feel like it's slightly wider. Even though it looks completely weird with a door handle, I know. But maybe we can do two of these next to each other and it feels like more like a sort of proper... We can hide the door handle even. And doing that should hide the sea fighting, actually. I mean, I'm pretty happy with this. But it's not gonna be the best church I ever did. I think. Or maybe it is, to be honest. Like, I really like the monorail things, the monorail tracks here in the front. That was a nice touch. Yeah. Anyway, you guys get the idea. Like, I just want to like sort of inspire you to sort of see what you can do with the tools and like sort of how you can play around with them to create your own stuff. If you're missing some assets from the game, if there's something you really want but you don't have it or there's no way to find, like, play around and see if you can't sort of make it yourself. It's a really fun way to play the game, and you get so good at using the tools. You have like just the sort of mirror tool, just knowing it exists just helps so many things when you're playing the game. So this is going to be that episode. It's going to be a fully live play episode of me building this church, I suppose. And I think it looks really great. Let me know what you think about this format, guys. I will see you in the next episode. Might be a short break again. I'm doing some other stuff and some trips, so I might not have the ability to record as much going forward, but you know, have some patience with me, and we'll get through this this time. So yeah, let's go. That's a nice one. This is probably gonna be the thumbnail. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Okay, so one last thing before I forget. There's actually a really useful trick you can do if you don't like this this roof texture for this church, and it's called decals. Basically, decals recolor networks in City Skylines. So we can use a decal and like raise it up, kind of like this, and you can see it applies its texture to the roof. And we can even repaint the color if we're using a prop painter mod. Sometimes we can, not this decal, it seems, but I happen to know that high level tiling decal definitely works. So, for example, if we want to have a red roof or a more copper colored roof, we could go in there and sort of place quite a few of these decals. You see they're limited in their height range, so you would have to place like a few and stack them on top of each other, or scale them up, or even use IMT, because there's an IMT trick here that could actually be pretty useful. I'm gonna create a prop line from here to here. It's going to be a prop line, and it's going to be a decal. Let's try some other decal just because, like maybe not the beach one, but let's do the... I like the tiling. Let's see if we can do that. The high level tiling. Yes. If we raise this up, you can see we have an IMT preset, and it's connected to the road, so that's pretty useful as well. We can also scale it up, which is maybe the bigger deal here, because then we can use the same, like this is one just decal row for the whole roof, and honestly that kind of doesn't look all that bad. It's gonna disappear when you zoom out, but you know what? Maybe we keep this. You can also change the color in IMT. That was kind of weird. Yeah, we've scaled it up very large, so it might cause some issues. Let's try to make it like a little bit smaller. Something like that. Adjusting the elevation of it and the scale. Be 400. And the color is color variant. Yeah, we can set custom. We can go in here and basically pick any color we like. We can make it something like that, I suppose. It's pretty neat. It might also recolor the backside of the network, so let's see if we can see that. Yeah, so that might be a reason to sort of avoid using this method, but we can also fix it by using the the offset before and after, so we can sort of make it start. I'm not entirely sure. The step should be definitely larger because we don't need... I'm sure there's a way to sort of get this to work, but... oh, it's the wrong side, isn't it? That's why. It's the before or the after you need to slide. And I think I messed up. No. Okay, maybe it doesn't work as perfect as I hoped. What if you do like a little bit on each side then? This is where you test things before you make 1 hour long videos. Maybe distribution thing can help us. I think it can, but it's like it requires some tuning. Obviously, I can't seem to quite figure it out right now. But and I also don't think keeping it right now is. But maybe I'll do it later. But I just wanted to show the trick. You can recolor networks with IMT and decals, which is really useful in some cases, and I thought it was just a great opportunity to show it. So yeah, that is all for the episode. Now enjoy some nice cinematics.